I reincarnated as a villain Omega. I want a peaceful life, so I quit the plot, but the main alpha says otherwise. Even the alpha's twin sons won't leave me alone. But I just want to laze around. Chapter 16. The cafe everyone wants to visit. The first morning of Volume 2. Everleaf Village awakened beneath a bright blue sky. Warm sunlight spilled over flower gardens. Cherry blossom petals drifted lazily through the breeze. The sign above the cozy cafe gently swayed. Haon's Garden Cafe, a place where everyone is welcome. Inside, Seo Haon was still asleep. He hugged his blanket tighter. Luna lay comfortably on top of his stomach. Q. Neither of them had any intention of moving. Outside, Mayor Ben sighed. He forgot to unlock the cafe again. One of the regular grandmothers laughed. Should we wake him? Mayor Ben shook his head. No, let's enjoy the peace while it lasts. 5 minutes later, boom, the cafe door flew open. Good morning, pretty Omega. We're here. Haon nearly rolled off the couch. What happened? The Blackwood twins had arrived. Again, Noah proudly held a newspaper. You're famous. Leon unfolded another one. Really famous. Haon blinked sleepily. What? The twins placed the newspapers on the table. Each front page showed the same headline. The Forest's Blessed Gardener. The Miracle Cafe of Everleaf. Another newspaper read, Magical beasts gather around mysterious Omega. Another, the strongest alpha visits the same cafe every day. Haon slowly covered his face. This is exactly what I didn't want. Adrian entered a few moments later. He calmly removed his coat. Good morning. Haon looked at him accusingly. Did you know? Yes, and you didn't tell me. I assumed you already knew. I live in the countryside. I don't read newspapers. Fair. Before anyone could say another word, a long line formed outside the cafe. Haon looked through the window. Why are there so many people? Mayor Ben peeked outside. Around 50. Haon almost dropped his teacup. 50. The first customer entered. A young hunter. Excuse me, is this really Haon's Garden Cafe? Yes. The hunter looked around excitedly. I traveled 3 days to get here. I wanted to try the legendary cheesecake. Haon smiled awkwardly. It's just cheesecake. The hunter looked horrified. Just. It's famous in the capital. The next customer stepped inside. Then another. Then another. Soon, every table was occupied. People even waited outside. One merchant happily announced, I brought my whole family. Another customer pointed toward the menu. I'll take one of everything. Haon blinked. Everything. Everything. Inside the kitchen, Haon stared at the mountain of orders. I wanted to read today. Noah handed him an apron. Work first. Leon nodded. Nap later. Haon sighed dramatically. My dreams. Destroyed. The twins suddenly climbed onto chairs. Noah cleared his throat. Attention. Everyone looked over. Leon proudly stood beside him. Welcome to Haon's Garden Cafe. We're today's guides. Haon looked horrified. Guides. The twins pointed dramatically. This is pretty Omega. He makes the best cheesecake. He also likes naps, and gardening, and reading books, and he accidentally adopts magical beasts. The customers burst into laughter. Haon covered his face. Please stop introducing me. A little girl timidly approached. Mr. Haon. Yes. Can I pet Luna? Luna opened one golden eye. Q. She slowly walked over. The little girl gently stroked her fluffy head. She's so soft. Luna proudly purred. Apparently, she approved. Meanwhile, a wealthy merchant cautiously approached. Adrian. Guild master. Yes. Are the rumors true? Which ones? That you come here every day. Adrian calmly answered. Quote dot dot dot. Yes. Quote dot dot dot. Because of the cheesecake. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. Partly. The merchant looked toward Haon. Quote dot dot dot. I understand. Adrian quietly sipped his tea without correcting him. The morning became complete chaos. Fresh bread sold out first. Then cookies. Then pies. Even the herbal tea disappeared. Haon looked at the empty shelves. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. We're out of everything. Mayor Ben laughed. I've never seen that happen. Neither had Haon. Outside, the waiting line somehow became even longer. Travelers from neighboring villages continued arriving. One family carried luggage. Quote dot dot dot. Did they come for vacation? Mayor Ben looked at the reservation book. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. Apparently. Just then, a tiny magical squirrel ran into the cafe carrying an acorn. It jumped onto Haon's shoulder. Quote dot dot dot. Q. Luna narrowed her eyes. Quote dot dot dot. Hiss. The squirrel immediately offered the acorn to Haon. Quote dot 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 quote. Haon accepted it with a smile. Thank you. The squirrel happily bowed before running away. The visitors stared. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. Did. Quote dot dot dot. Did a magical squirrel just bring him a present? Mayor Ben nodded proudly. They all do. An elderly traveler suddenly stood. I understand now. Everyone looked toward him. This cafe isn't famous because of the desserts. It's famous because. He smiled warmly. Quote dot dot dot. Everyone here feels welcome. Silence filled the room. Haon looked around. Children laughed while eating cookies. Villagers chatted with complete strangers. Hunters shared stories beside farmers. Magical rabbits napped under the tables. Luna rested on the counter. Even travelers who had never met before were smiling together. He quietly smiled. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. Maybe. Quote dot dot dot. That's not so bad. Late that afternoon, business finally slowed. Haon collapsed into a chair. Quote dot dot dot. I'm exhausted. Noah handed him a slice of cheesecake. For energy. Leon offered warm tea. In recovery. Haon smiled. Quote dot dot dot. Thank you. The twins grinned proudly. You're welcome. Adrian quietly approached. Quote dot dot dot. You did well today. Haon laughed tiredly. Quote dot dot dot. I survived. You served 94 customers. Haon blinked. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. You counted. Quote dot dot dot. Yes. You really count everything. It helps. Haon shook his head with a smile. Quote dot dot dot. You're unbelievable. As sunset painted the sky orange, the final customer waved goodbye. See you again. We'll definitely return. We'll bring friends. Haon smiled politely. Quote dot dot dot. Please. Quote dot dot dot. Maybe don't bring too many. Everyone laughed. After locking the cafe, Haon walked into the garden. The flowers gently swayed beneath the evening breeze. Luna curled around his neck like a fluffy scarf. The twins chased glowing butterflies. Adrian quietly watered the flower beds without anyone asking him to. Haon watched the peaceful scene. His once empty cafe had become a place people traveled across the kingdom to visit. Not because it was luxurious. Not because it was famous. But because people felt at home there. He smiled softly. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. I guess. Quote dot dot dot. A little more work. Quote dot dot dot. Is worth seeing everyone smile. Noah overheard him. He grinned triumphantly. Mission successful. Leon nodded. Papa admitted it. Haon blinked. Quote dot dot dot. Admitted what? That he likes taking care of people. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. I walked right into that one. The twins burst into laughter. Above the cafe, the evening stars slowly appeared. Far away, in the capital, someone quietly read another report. Haon's Garden Cafe welcomed 94 guests today. The influence of Seo Haon continues to grow. The mysterious reader slowly closed the file. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. Continue watching. Quote dot dot dot. Soon. Quote dot dot dot. We'll see whether his peaceful little world can survive. Chapter 17. Operation. Make Papa move in. The morning after the cafe welcomed visitors from across the kingdom, Haon made one important decision. I'm taking a nap. He flipped the sign outside. Open afternoon. Quote dot dot dot. There. No customers. No chaos. Just sleep. Luna happily curled up beside him. Quote dot dot dot. Q. The cafe became wonderfully quiet. For exactly 7 minutes. Ding. The front door slowly opened. Noah peeked inside. Quote dot dot dot. Shish. Leon nodded seriously. Papa is sleeping. The twins tiptoed inside. Behind them, Adrian quietly carried several bags. Haon remained fast asleep on the couch. The twins whispered. Phase 1. Begin. Adrian looked confused. Quote dot dot dot. Phase 1. Noah smiled mischievously. It's operation. Make Papa move in. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. What? The twins gathered around a notebook. On the front was written in colorful crayons. Top secret. Operation. Make Papa move in. Adrian blinked. Quote dot dot dot. Who made this? We did. Last night. They proudly opened the notebook. Inside. A checklist. Step 1. Make Papa comfortable. Step 2. Leave important things. Step 3. Make him stay forever. Adrian quietly rubbed his forehead. Quote dot dot dot. I have questions. The first item. A fluffy pair of slippers. Noah carefully placed them beside Haon's couch. There. Leon nodded. Now he has house slippers. Adrian quietly corrected them. Quote dot dot dot. These are cafe slippers. The twins looked at him. Quote dot dot dot. Not anymore. Next. A soft blanket. They carefully folded it over the sleeping Haon. Quote dot dot dot. He's always cold when he naps. Adrian smiled faintly. Quote dot dot dot. Good thinking. Then, a toothbrush. The twins proudly placed it in the cafe bathroom. Haon happened to wake up at that exact moment. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. Why is there a toothbrush? Noah answered immediately. It's yours. I already have one. This one's for staying over. Quote dot dot dot. Staying where? The cafe. Quote dot dot dot. I already stay here. The twins froze. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. Phase 2 failed. Haon looked around. Something felt different. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. Why is there another pillow? Leon answered confidently. Emergency nap pillow. And another blanket. Backup blanket. And he picked up a folded pair of pajamas. Quote dot dot dot. Why are there pajamas? The twins looked at each other proudly. So you don't have to go home. Haon blinked. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. I live here. Silence. The twins slowly looked around the cafe. Then back at Haon. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. Right. Noah scratched his head. We forgot. Mayor Ben walked inside just in time to hear the conversation. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. What exactly is happening? Noah answered proudly. We're moving Papa in. Mayor Ben looked at the cafe. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. Isn't he already home? The twins gasped. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. We've made a terrible mistake. Laughter filled the cafe. Even Adrian quietly smiled into his teacup. The twins refused to give up. Phase 3. Leon unfolded another page. Make Papa visit our house instead. Haon immediately became suspicious. Quote dot dot dot. What are you planning? We're inviting you. For dinner. Haon smiled apologetically. I can't. I have the cafe. The twins looked disappointed. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. Okay. Haon gently patted their heads. How about, I make dinner here instead? Their eyes sparkled. Really? Promise. I promise. The disappointment vanished instantly. That afternoon, the cafe kitchen became unusually lively. Haon cooked vegetable stew, fresh bread, roasted chicken, creamy mushroom soup, apple pie for dessert. The delicious aroma drifted through the village. Villagers began poking their heads through the windows. Mayor Ben sniffed the air. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. Should we pretend we're customers? Grandmother Elise laughed. We're neighbors. That's even better. Soon, the dining table became crowded. The twins happily set the plates. Adrian carried drinks. Mayor Ben brought homemade jam. Grandmother Elise arrived with fresh salad. Several villagers contributed desserts. Without anyone planning it, dinner became a community gathering. Haon looked around. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. When did this become a party? Noah smiled. Families eat together. Leon nodded. So do neighbors. During dinner, the twins suddenly disappeared again. Haon narrowed his eyes. They're plotting. Luna lifted her head. Q. A few minutes later, the boys returned carrying a framed drawing. It showed Haon, Adrian, Noah, Leon, Luna, standing in front of the café. Above them were the words, "Home." Haon quietly stared at the picture. You made this. The twins nodded proudly. It's for your wall, so you won't forget. Haon smiled softly. I don't think. I'll ever forget. He carefully hung it near the cafe entrance, right beneath the wooden sign Adrian had gifted him. As the evening grew late, everyone slowly went home. The villagers waved goodbye. See you tomorrow. Good night. The twins hugged Haon tightly. Don't forget, tomorrow's operation. Haon blinked. There's another one. The boys nodded confidently. We have 37 plans. 37. Adrian sighed. I've tried stopping them. It didn't work. After the Blackwood carriage disappeared, Haon locked the cafe door. He looked around. The extra slippers. The emergency pillow. The second blanket. The drawing labeled home. Luna curled up beside him. Q. Haon laughed quietly. Those little troublemakers. He lay down on the couch, pulled the blanket over himself. For a moment, he remembered the apartment from his previous life. Empty, silent, cold. Then he looked around the cafe. Children's drawings covered the walls. Fresh flowers filled every window. The smell of baked bread lingered in the air. Someone had accidentally left behind a tiny toy knight. He smiled. Maybe. They've already succeeded, not at making him move in, but at making him realize. He had long since found a place that truly felt like home. Far away, inside the Blackwood carriage, Noah proudly checked another box in the notebook. Papa smiled at our family picture. Leon nodded seriously. Operation successful. Adrian looked out the carriage window toward the glowing cafe. Perhaps. You're making more progress than you realize. The twins grinned. Of course, our papa is stubborn. But, we're even more stubborn. Chapter 18. The Sleeping Magical Bear. Morning sunlight filtered through the towering trees surrounding Everleaf. The air smelled of fresh flowers, warm bread, and honey. Inside Haon's garden cafe, Seo Haon had finally achieved his dream. He was napping. Perfect. Luna slept comfortably on his chest. The cafe was unusually quiet. No customers. No twins. No magical emergencies. This is happiness. Boom. The ground suddenly shook. The teacups rattled. The windows trembled. Haon slowly opened one eye. No. Another heavy thud echoed from outside. Luna immediately jumped onto the windowsill. Q. Outside. The villagers were running. Mayor Ben sprinted toward the cafe. Haon. Haon blinked sleepily. Good morning. It is not a good morning. What happened? Mayor Ben pointed toward the flower garden. You should see for yourself. Haon stepped outside, then froze. That's, lying peacefully in the middle of his flower garden, was an enormous magical bear. It was nearly 3 times the size of a carriage. Golden brown fur shimmered beneath the sunlight. Its fluffy tail lazily swayed. It looked comfortable, very comfortable. The enormous beast let out a contented snore. Grr, fwu. The entire village stared from a safe distance. One hunter whispered, That's an ancient honey bear. Another paled, An S-rank magical beast. Mayor Ben nodded nervously. It wandered out of the forest this morning. We thought it would attack. Instead, everyone looked at the bear. Still sleeping. Haon tilted his head. It's asleep. The villagers stared at him. Quote dot dot dot. That's your conclusion. Haon nodded. Quote dot dot dot. Yes. One nervous hunter stepped forward. We should drive it away. The moment he raised his spear, the bear slightly opened one eye. The hunter froze. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. Never mind. Haon slowly approached the enormous beast. Mayor Ben panicked. Haon, wait. It's dangerous. Haon calmly continued walking. Luna remained on his shoulder. Surprisingly, she wasn't hissing. She simply watched curiously. The giant bear sniffed the air. Its nose twitched. Then, it slowly opened both eyes. The villagers held their breath. The bear looked directly at Haon. Haon smiled gently. Quote dot dot dot. Good morning. The enormous bear blinked. Then, it let out a tiny, sleepy sound. Quote dot dot dot. MRRR. And rolled onto its back, exposing its fluffy belly. Silence. Absolute silence. Mayor Ben slowly lowered his glasses. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. Did. Quote dot dot dot. Did it just ask for belly rubs? Haon laughed softly. I think it did. He carefully scratched the giant bear's fluffy stomach. The magical beast closed its eyes. MRRRRRR. Its tail wagged happily. The villagers stood speechless. One hunter whispered. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. Again, Mayor Ben sighed. I'm not even surprised anymore. A few moments later, Noah and Leon arrived. They looked toward the flower garden. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. Wow. Giant Fluffy. The twins immediately ran toward the bear. Wait. Everyone shouted together. Too late. The bear lifted its enormous head. It sniffed the twins. Then, very carefully, it gently licked Noah's hair. Noah burst into laughter. Tickles. Leon patted the bear's nose. You're soft. The giant magical beast happily rumbled. Adrian arrived shortly afterward. He immediately assessed the situation. One giant S-rank magical beast. Two fearless children. One sleepy Omega petting the monster. Quote dot 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 quote. He quietly sighed. Quote dot dot dot. Of course. Haon looked up. Good morning. Quote dot dot dot. Good morning. What brings you here? The twins left before breakfast. Quote dot dot dot. Ah. The hunters slowly approached Adrian. Guild Master. Should we eliminate it? Adrian looked toward the bear. The beast had somehow fallen asleep again. Its massive head now rested beside Haon. The twins were leaning comfortably against its fluffy side. Luna had climbed onto its back like a tiny queen. Adrian calmly answered. Quote dot dot dot. No. It's clearly not hostile. The village elder arrived carrying an old book. I remember reading about these creatures. Everyone gathered around. He carefully flipped through the pages. Finally. There. He smiled. Ancient honey bears. Gentle giants. They only visit places where they feel completely safe. The villagers slowly turned toward Haon. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. Again. Mayor Ben laughed. I told you. Our cafe attracts everything. Just then, the giant bear's stomach growled loudly. Grr. Haon blinked. Quote dot dot dot. You're hungry. The bear nodded. Everyone stared. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. It understands him. Haon returned to the cafe. A few minutes later, he carried out a freshly baked loaf of honey bread. The sweet aroma spread through the garden. The bear's ears immediately perked up. Quote dot dot dot. MRR. It gently accepted the bread from Haon's hands. Then, its eyes sparkled. The giant magical beast happily devoured the loaf in seconds. The villagers couldn't believe it. One child whispered. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. It likes bakery food. Haon laughed. I'll make another. Adrian quietly spoke. Quote dot dot dot. You're feeding an S-rank magical beast. It looks hungry. Quote dot dot dot. Fair point. After eating 3 entire loaves of honey bread, the bear yawned. Then, walked toward the flower garden, curled into a giant fluffy ball, and fell asleep again, right in the middle of Haon's flowers. Phew. Haon quietly disappeared into the cafe. He returned carrying a huge blanket. The villagers watched in confusion. What are you doing? Haon gently covered the sleeping bear. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. It'll catch a cold. Silence. Then, Mayor Ben started laughing. Soon, the entire village laughed together. Only Haon would worry about an S-rank magical beast catching a cold. As evening approached, travelers arrived hoping to see the famous honey bear. Instead of a terrifying monster, they found a gigantic fluffy bear sleeping peacefully beneath a blanket. A tiny magical fox sleeping on its head. 2 children reading it a bedtime story. An omega quietly watering flowers nearby. And the strongest alpha drinking tea on the cafe porch. One traveler blinked. Quote. Is this really an S-rank magical beast? Mayor Ben smiled proudly. In Everleaf, everything eventually becomes family. As the sun began to set, the giant bear slowly woke up. It stretched lazily, then lowered its enormous head before Haon. From around its neck, a single golden crystal pendant slipped free. It gently nudged the pendant toward him. The village elder gasped. Quote. A guardian's gift. The bear wanted Haon to have it. Haon smiled warmly. Quote. Thank you. The enormous beast gave one happy rumble. Then slowly wandered back toward the forest. Before disappearing among the trees, it turned once, raised one giant paw, and waved goodbye. The twins enthusiastically waved back. Come visit again. Next time we'll bake more bread. The bear happily nodded before vanishing into the forest. That night, Haon carefully placed the golden crystal pendant inside the cafe. It glowed softly beside the family drawing from chapter 17. Luna curled beside it. Quote. Q. Haon smiled. Quote. I really do attract strange guests. Outside, the stars sparkled above Everleaf. Far away in the forest, the ancient honey bear lay beneath an old tree. For the first time in centuries, it slept peacefully, because it had finally found a place that felt like home. Chapter 19. Lunchbox for the strongest alpha. The next morning, Everleaf welcomed another peaceful sunrise. Golden light streamed through the windows of Haon's garden cafe. Fresh bread baked in the oven. A pot of herbal tea simmered gently on the stove. Seo Haon hummed quietly while watering the flowers outside. Quote. Today's definitely going to be peaceful. Luna, curled around his neck like a fluffy scarf, opened one eye. Quote. Q. She sounded skeptical. Ding. The cafe bell rang. Haon didn't even need to look. Good morning, Noah. Good morning, Leon. Good morning, Adrian. The twins blinked. You knew. Haon laughed. You 3 always arrive at the same time. Adrian quietly nodded. Quote. Good morning. Breakfast began as usual. Fresh bread, berry jam, cheesecake, herbal tea. The twins happily chatted while eating. Adrian barely touched his food. Haon noticed immediately. Quote. You're not eating. I'm fine. You've only had tea. Quote. I'm used to it. Mayor Ben, who happened to be eating nearby, sighed. He always skips meals. Haon looked at Adrian. Quote. Really? The mayor nodded. When he's working, he forgets to eat. One of the visiting hunters added. The guild master sometimes works until midnight without lunch. Another hunter laughed awkwardly. We have to remind him. Adrian calmly continued drinking tea. Quote. It's efficient. Haon frowned. Quote. It's unhealthy. Later that morning, the Blackwood family left for guild headquarters. Haon watched the carriage disappear. Quote. He really didn't eat. Luna nudged his cheek. Quote. Q. Haon quietly walked back into the kitchen. 1 hour later, the aroma of grilled chicken filled the cafe. Fresh rice, rolled omelets, steamed vegetables, pickled cucumbers, strawberries. Everything was arranged neatly inside a polished wooden lunchbox. Haon looked at it thoughtfully. Quote. Maybe. Quote. Just this once. That afternoon, a courier from Everleaf delivered the lunchbox to guild headquarters. The receptionist blinked. Quote. For the guild master. From Haon's garden cafe. Every receptionist within earshot immediately looked up. Inside the guild master's office, Adrian quietly finished reviewing a mountain of reports. Knock, knock. Quote. Come in. A young hunter entered. Guild master. You received. He looked at the note again. Quote. A homemade lunch. Silence. Quote. Quote dot dot dot. From whom? Haon's garden cafe. For the first time all day. Adrian immediately stood up. The entire office quietly watched him. One hunter whispered. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. Did he move faster? I think he did. Adrian opened the lunchbox. Inside, a neatly folded note. Don't skip meals. Haon. For a long moment, the guild master simply stared at it. Then, very carefully, he smiled. A tiny one, but unmistakably real. Outside the office, the hunters peeked through the doorway. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. He smiled. Someone write this down. The guild master smiled because of lunch. The receptionist quickly covered everyone's mouths. Quiet. Adrian picked up the first bite. Grilled chicken. Perfectly seasoned. Still warm. He quietly finished every single bite. Even the vegetables. Not one grain of rice remained. When he closed the empty lunchbox, he looked toward the window. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. Delicious. Back at the cafe, Haon was arranging flowers when the familiar carriage returned. Noah and Leon ran inside. Papa, we're back. Haon smiled. Welcome. Adrian entered a moment later. He quietly placed the empty lunchbox on the counter. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. Thank you. Haon blinked. You finished everything. Quote dot dot dot. Yes. I wasn't sure if you'd like it. I did. The answer came immediately. Without hesitation, the twins climbed onto their chairs. Papa Adrian smiled. He smiled because of your lunch. Haon looked surprised. Quote dot dot dot. Really? Adrian calmly looked away. Quote dot dot dot. The food was good. Mayor Ben chuckled. That's practically a love confession coming from him. Adrian nearly choked on his tea. Quote dot dot dot. Mayor. What? I'm simply stating facts. The cafe burst into laughter. For the next few days, Haon continued making lunchboxes. Sometimes grilled salmon, sometimes beef stew, sometimes sandwiches. Each one included fresh fruit. A balanced meal. And always, a tiny handwritten note. Drink enough water. Take a break today. Don't forget to stretch. The twins asked if you ate your vegetables. At guild headquarters, a strange phenomenon began. Every day at exactly noon, the strongest guild master disappeared. Hunters looked around. Quote dot dot dot. Where did he go? The break room. What for? Quote dot dot dot. Lunch. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. Our guild master. One curious hunter secretly peeked through the door. Adrian sat quietly by the window, carefully unfolding Haon's lunchbox, reading the little note first, then eating slowly. For the first time, he wasn't working while eating. He simply enjoyed his meal. The hunter quietly closed the door. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. Nobody disturb him. News spread through guild headquarters. The guild master eats homemade lunch now. He actually takes breaks. He smiled yesterday. He even reminded us to eat. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. What happened to him? No one knew. Except perhaps the tiny handwritten notes hidden beneath every lunchbox lid. One rainy afternoon, a rookie hunter accidentally asked Adrian. Guild master. Quote dot dot dot. Who makes your lunches? Adrian looked at the lunchbox in front of him. His expression softened. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. Someone. Quote dot dot dot. Very important. The room fell silent. The rookie blinked. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. Did. Quote dot dot dot. Did he just say someone was important? Everyone stared, then immediately pretended they hadn't heard anything. That evening, Haon prepared another lunchbox. Luna watched from the counter. Quote dot dot dot. Q. Haon smiled. I know. I'm making another one. Luna tilted her head. Quote dot dot dot. Q. You think I'm spoiling him? The little fox nodded confidently. Haon laughed. Quote dot dot dot. Maybe a little. Just then, the cafe door opened. Adrian stepped inside. It was much later than usual. His shoulders looked tired. Dark circles rested beneath his eyes. Haon frowned. Quote dot dot dot. Long day. Quote dot dot dot. Yes. You worked overtime again. Quote dot dot dot. Unfortunately. Haon quietly placed a warm bowl of mushroom soup in front of him. No charge. No questions. Just warm food. Adrian looked at the bowl. Then at Haon. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. Thank you. Haon smiled gently. Eat first. You can worry later. The alpha nodded. Quote dot dot dot. All right. As Adrian slowly ate, the twins fell asleep beside the fireplace. Luna curled up near the soup bowl, still keeping one eye on Adrian. Outside, rain gently tapped against the cafe windows. Inside, warm light filled the room. For the first time in years, the strongest alpha had someone waiting for him after work. And for the first time, Haon found himself preparing an extra serving every evening. Without even thinking about it, he noticed only after washing the dishes. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. Why did I cook 4 portions again? Luna looked at him knowingly. Quote dot dot dot. Q. She already knew the answer. Haon simply wasn't ready to admit it yet. Chapter 20. Luna declares war again. The next morning, Everleaf welcomed another calm and peaceful day. Golden sunlight filtered through the windows of Haon's garden cafe. Fresh flowers swayed gently in the garden. Birds chirped happily. Seo Haon stretched lazily behind the counter. Quote dot dot dot. Today's goal. He held up one finger. Do absolutely nothing. Luna, curled on his shoulder, nodded approvingly. Quote dot dot dot. Q. For once, it seemed possible. Ding. The cafe bell rang. Noah and Leon ran inside. Pretty Omega. We're here. Haon smiled. Good morning. Adrian entered behind them, carrying a basket of fresh fruit. Quote dot dot dot. Morning. Haon accepted it. Thank you. Luna narrowed her golden eyes. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. Hiss. Adrian blinked. Quote dot dot dot. Good morning to you too. Noah sighed dramatically. Quote dot dot dot. It's starting again. Leon nodded. Luna declared war. Haon laughed. Quote dot dot dot. She's just being protective. Luna puffed out her tiny chest proudly. Quote dot dot dot. Q. Breakfast went peacefully. Until Adrian reached for the teapot. At that exact moment, Luna leapt onto the table. Puff. She planted herself directly on top of the teapot. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. Q. Haon blinked. Luna, I need the teapot. She refused to move. Instead, she looked directly at Adrian. As if saying, get your own. The twins burst into laughter. Eventually, Haon poured Adrian another cup himself. Luna relaxed. Mission accomplished. Later that morning, Adrian stepped outside to help Haon water the garden. He carefully picked up the watering can. Quote dot dot dot. I'll help. Quote dot dot dot. Thank you. When he turned around, the watering can was gone. Quote dot 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 quote. He looked left, then right. Nothing. Noah pointed toward the flower bed. Quote dot dot dot. Over there. Luna proudly dragged the watering can away with surprising determination. Quote dot dot dot. Q. Adrian sighed. Quote dot dot dot. Again, Haon couldn't stop laughing. I'm sorry. I think she wants me to water the flowers. Luna nodded enthusiastically. Exactly. A little later, Adrian removed his coat because of the warm weather. He hung it neatly on the porch. 5 minutes later, it disappeared. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. Where is my coat? The twins immediately began searching. Noah looked under the table. Nope. Leon checked behind the bookshelf. Not here. Mayor Ben walked into the cafe carrying vegetables. Quote dot dot dot. Looking for something. My coat. The mayor looked toward Luna's favorite sleeping basket. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. You might want to check there. Adrian lifted the blanket. His black coat had been folded into a tiny bed. Luna slept happily on top of it. Quote dot dot dot. Q. Silence. Adrian quietly stared. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. That's my coat. Luna opened one eye. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. Q. She went back to sleep. Grandmother Elise laughed so hard she had tears in her eyes. She likes expensive bedding. That afternoon, the cafe became busy. Travelers filled every table. Adrian helped carry dishes. As he reached for a tray, Luna appeared. She sat squarely on it. Quote dot dot dot. Q. Quote dot dot dot. Excuse me. She refused. Quote dot dot dot. Q. Noah translated. She said no. I understood. Haon sighed. Luna, we have customers. The little fox reluctantly hopped down. But not before flicking her fluffy tail against Adrian's hand. The twins gasped. She taunted him. Evening arrived. The cafe finally became quiet again. Adrian sat on the porch with a cup of tea. For the first time all day, Luna didn't interrupt him. Instead, she quietly climbed onto the bench beside him. The alpha looked down. Quote. Truce. Luna stared back. Then, very slowly, she placed one tiny paw on the bench. Not on Adrian, just closer. Adrian smiled faintly. I'll take that as progress. Unfortunately, the truce lasted exactly 30 seconds. Haon stepped outside carrying a plate of fresh cookies. I made extras. Luna immediately jumped into Haon's lap. She looked toward Adrian with unmistakable triumph. Quote. Q. The expression clearly meant, he's mine. Noah laughed so hard he nearly fell off his chair. She won again. Leon nodded seriously. Complete victory. Adrian quietly accepted defeat. Quote. For today, as the sun began to set, Haon placed a small plate of cookies on the table. These are for everyone. Luna sniffed the cookies. Then, to everyone's surprise, she gently pushed one toward Adrian. Quote. Q. Silence filled the porch. Haon smiled. Quote. She's sharing. Adrian accepted the cookie carefully. Quote. Thank you. Luna looked away as if embarrassed. She wasn't ready to admit she was warming up to him. Not yet. The twins smiled knowingly. She's still jealous. But, Leon grinned. She doesn't hate Papa Adrian anymore. Noah nodded. She just wants pretty Omega all to herself. Haon gently stroked Luna's fluffy head. You don't have to compete. You'll always have a place beside me. The little fox looked up at him. Her tail wagged softly. Quote. Q. Then she glanced at Adrian. The alpha quietly nodded once. I understand. It wasn't a friendship yet. It certainly wasn't peace. But, the kingdom's strongest alpha, and the tiniest magical fox, had taken one very small step toward getting along. The twins looked at each other and whispered. Quote. Operation Peace Treaty. Leon smiled. Quote. Tomorrow. Chapter 21. The Twin Detectives. The morning after Luna's victory. Haon's garden cafe was unusually peaceful. Haon stood in the garden watering roses. Luna sat proudly on his shoulder. Quote. Q. She looked exceptionally pleased with herself. Haon smiled. You've been in a good mood since yesterday. Luna puffed out her chest. Quote. Q. Inside the cafe, Noah and Leon sat at their favorite table. Between them lay a notebook, a magnifying glass, toy detective hats, fake mustaches, and a map of the cafe. Noah whispered dramatically. Quote. It's time. Leon nodded seriously. Quote. Operation Detective. Noah carefully wrote the mission title. Top Secret Case Number 1. Does Papa Adrian like pretty Omega? Mayor Ben walked in carrying fresh vegetables. He stopped. Quote. Quote. Should I ask? The twins looked up. No. It's confidential. Quote. I see. He quietly backed away. A few minutes later, Adrian arrived. Good morning. Haon smiled warmly. Morning. Without thinking, Haon had already prepared Adrian's usual herbal tea. The alpha accepted it with a quiet. Quote. Thank you. Noah quickly wrote in the notebook. Clue number 1. Papa Adrian has a special drink. Leon nodded. Suspicious. Then, Haon placed a slice of cheesecake in front of Adrian. I baked this earlier. Quote. Thank you. Again, Noah scribbled excitedly. Clue number 2. Pretty Omega gives Papa special desserts. Mayor Ben peeked over their shoulders. Quote. Quote. Those aren't exactly secret clues. The investigation officially began. The twins wore fake mustaches, which kept falling off. They followed Adrian around the cafe. Very obviously. Noah whispered loudly. Quote. Target is moving. Leon answered just as loudly. Quote. Maintain visual contact. Adrian calmly sipped his tea. Quote. I can hear you. We know. We're practicing. Later, Haon climbed a small ladder to hang flower baskets. He reached just a little too far. The ladder wobbled. Before he could lose his balance, Adrian stepped forward and steadied it with one hand. Quote dot dot dot. Careful. Haon smiled sheepishly. Quote dot dot dot. Thanks. Noah nearly dropped his notebook. Clue number 3, Papa catches pretty Omega. Leon gasped. Extremely suspicious. Next, a traveling merchant entered the café. He smiled politely. Is this seat taken? He pointed toward the chair beside Haon. Before Haon could answer, Adrian quietly spoke. Quote dot dot dot. Yes. The merchant blinked. Oh. He chose another table. The twins slowly turned toward Adrian. Then toward each other. Noah whispered. Quote dot dot dot. Did you see that? Leon nodded. Quote dot dot dot. Very suspicious. Outside, Luna proudly watched from the windowsill. Quote dot dot dot. Q. She seemed to enjoy the investigation. As long as it embarrassed Adrian. That afternoon, the twins decided they needed witnesses. Mayor Ben became witness number 1. Do you think Papa Adrian likes pretty Omega? The mayor smiled. Quote dot dot dot. What do you think? We're asking you. I think. He looked toward Adrian, who was quietly repairing one of the cafe chairs while Haon arranged flowers nearby. Quote dot dot dot. He smiles more here than anywhere else. The twins immediately wrote it down. Witness testimony. Grandmother Elise became witness number 2. She laughed softly. He always finishes every meal Haon cooks. Evidence added. Even Luna became a witness. Noah asked. Does Papa Adrian like pretty Omega? Luna stared at Adrian. Quote dot dot dot. Q. She then looked away dramatically. Leon nodded. Luna refuses to answer. Very suspicious. The investigation reached its climax during dinner. Haon accidentally got a little flour on his cheek while baking. He didn't notice. Adrian quietly walked over. Without saying a word, he gently brushed the flour away. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. You missed a spot. Haon blinked. Quote dot dot dot. Oh. Quote dot dot dot. Thanks. Silence. The cafe became very, very quiet. Every villager had seen it. The twins' eyes sparkled. Mayor Ben slowly sipped his tea. Quote dot dot dot. Well. Quote dot dot dot. That's another clue. Noah stood dramatically on his chair. I've solved the mystery. Leon unfolded the notebook. They had filled nearly every page. The twins proudly cleared their throats. Our investigation is complete. Everyone looked over. Noah pointed toward Adrian. Our conclusion. Leon raised the notebook. Quote dot dot dot. Papa Adrian definitely likes pretty Omega. Silence. Utter silence. Then, every villager slowly turned toward Adrian. The strongest alpha calmly set down his teacup. His ears, very slightly, turned red. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. No comment. The cafe exploded with laughter. Haon blinked. In confusion. Quote dot dot dot. Really? The twins looked at him in disbelief. You still don't know? No, he really doesn't. Mayor Ben covered his face. Quote dot dot dot. He's hopeless. Grandmother Elise laughed until tears filled her eyes. Adrian quietly stood. Quote dot dot dot. I should return to work. Noah grinned. He's escaping. Leon nodded. Guilty. Adrian cleared his throat. Quote dot dot dot. Goodbye. For the first time, the strongest alpha in the kingdom retreated from a battlefield because of 2 5-year-old detectives. That evening, Haon closed the cafe. He found the twins' detective notebook forgotten on a table. Curious, he opened it. Inside were pages of childish handwriting. Evidence number 1. Papa smiles at pretty Omega. Evidence number 2. Papa always comes for dinner. Evidence number 3. Papa protects pretty Omega. Evidence number 4. Papa eats every lunchbox. On the final page, a drawing. It showed Adrian, Haon, the twins, Luna, holding hands beneath the cafe sign. Above it were the words, "Family solved." Haon smiled softly. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. Those two. He carefully placed the notebook beside the family picture hanging near the entrance. It deserved a place there. Outside, the Blackwood carriage rolled quietly toward home. Inside, Noah looked proudly at Adrian. So, were we right? Adrian looked out the window toward the distant lights of Everleaf. A faint smile appeared. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. You're very observant. The twins gasped. He admitted it. We solved the case. Their laughter echoed through the carriage as it disappeared into the night. Meanwhile, back at the café, Haon stood beneath the stars, still completely unaware that everyone around him had already solved the mystery. Except him. Chapter 22. A rainy day at the café. Rain began before sunrise. Soft at first, then steadily stronger. By morning, Everleaf had disappeared behind a curtain of silver rain. Raindrops gently tapped against the windows of Haon's garden café. Inside, warm lantern light filled the room. The fireplace crackled softly. The smell of freshly baked cinnamon cookies drifted through the café. Seo Haon smiled sleepily. Perfect weather. He carried a fluffy blanket to the couch. Today's plan. He held up one finger. Listen to the rain, drink tea, read novels, and nap. Luna purred happily. Q. She wholeheartedly approved. Ding. The cafe bell rang. The Blackwood twins rushed inside wearing oversized raincoats. Pretty Omega. We're soaked. Haon laughed. Oh dear. He quickly grabbed two fluffy towels. Come here. The twins obediently stood still while Haon gently dried their messy black hair. There. Much better. Noah smiled brightly. Warm. Leon quietly leaned closer. More. Haon chuckled. You two really are spoiled. A moment later, Adrian entered, folding his umbrella. His black coat was damp from the rain. You'll catch a cold. Haon immediately handed him a dry towel. Thank you. Luna watched the exchange carefully. Q. She allowed it. Just this once. The rain continued pouring outside. More villagers arrived. Mayor Ben, Grandmother Elise, several hunters, travelers unable to continue their journey. Before long, every seat inside the cafe was occupied. No one minded. The cafe felt warmer than ever. Lightning flashed. Rumble. A little Omega girl flinched. She quietly hid behind her mother. Haon noticed. He gently smiled. Would everyone like to bake cookies together? The children immediately cheered. Yes. Soon, the cafe kitchen became wonderfully chaotic. Flour floated through the air. Children carefully shaped cookies into stars. Flowers. Foxes. Bears. Noah proudly made a cookie shaped like Luna. Leon created one shaped like the giant honey bear. Haon smiled. Those are adorable. The twins beamed. Meanwhile, Adrian stood quietly beside the counter. Watching, not participating. Haon noticed. Would you like to help? I've never baked before, so. Teach me. Haon handed him an apron. There. Lesson 1. Wash your hands. The villagers secretly watched. Mayor Ben whispered. The guild master is wearing an apron. Grandmother Elise smiled. It suits him. Half an hour later, Adrian carefully shaped his first cookie. It looked crooked, very crooked. Noah stared. Papa, it looks like a potato. Leon nodded seriously. An artistic potato. The cafe erupted into laughter. Even Adrian smiled sheepishly. I tried. Haon quietly placed the potato cookie onto the baking tray. We're keeping it. The cookies baked while everyone gathered around the fireplace. Rain continued falling outside. The atmosphere became calm, peaceful, comfortable. One little boy asked, Mr. Adrian, Yes. Were you always this serious? Silence. Adrian looked into the fire. No. Everyone quietly listened. My wife. He spoke slowly. Loved rainy days. She always baked bread. The twins were still babies. We would stay home together. He smiled faintly. I forgot. How warm rainy days could be. The twins quietly held his hands. Neither said anything. They didn't need to. Silence settled once more. Then, Haon quietly spoke. I understand. Everyone looked toward him. In my old home. He smiled softly. Rainy days were lonely. I lived by myself. I usually ate instant noodles. And read books until I fell asleep. Noah frowned. Alone. Haon nodded. Very alone. Leon quietly climbed into Haon's lap. Quote. Not anymore. Haon blinked. Quote. 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 No, not anymore. Luna gently rested her head against Haon's arm. Quote. Q. As if agreeing, Grandmother Elise smiled warmly. You know, when I was young, my husband always said, a house becomes a home when people choose to stay inside together on rainy days. Everyone quietly looked around. The warm fireplace, fresh cookies, children laughing, the comforting smell of tea. Outside, the rain continued falling. Inside, no one wanted to leave. The cookies finally finished baking. The children eagerly tasted their creations. Noah pointed proudly. Papa, eat mine. Leon immediately added. No, mine first. Adrian looked at both cookies. Then, without hesitation, he broke each in half. I'll eat both. The twins smiled brightly. Clever. Later that afternoon, the rain became even heavier. Travelers realized they would have to stay overnight. Haon smiled. We have blankets. The second floor has guest rooms. No one has to travel in weather like this. The travelers bowed gratefully. Quote. Thank you. That evening, the cafe lights glowed warmly against the storm outside. Children gathered around Haon. Story time. He laughed. Again, please. Adrian quietly sat nearby, listening, not because he needed a story, but because, hearing Haon's gentle voice somehow made the storm feel farther away. Haon opened one of his favorite fantasy books. Quote. Once upon a time, he began reading. Soon, the children slowly drifted to sleep. One by one, Noah leaned against Haon. Leon rested against Adrian. Luna curled up between them. Even several magical rabbits had wandered inside and fallen asleep near the fireplace. Late that night, the rain finally softened. Most of the cafe was asleep. Only Haon and Adrian remained awake, watching the fire. Neither spoke for a while. The silence felt comforting. Finally, Adrian quietly said, quote. Quote. Thank you. For today. Haon smiled. Quote. For what? For reminding me. Quote. That home isn't a place. Quote. It's the people waiting for you. Haon looked toward the sleeping cafe. The villagers. The children. The magical creatures. Luna. The twins. Then, back at Adrian, he smiled gently. Quote. 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 I think. Quote. We've both found one. Outside, the last raindrops quietly fell onto Everleaf. Inside, warmth remained, not because of the fireplace, but because, on one ordinary rainy day, a lonely alpha, a reincarnated omega, two mischievous twins, a jealous little fox, and an entire village, had quietly become something even stronger than friends. They had become family. Chapter 23. The Forest Guardian's Request. The rain had finally passed. Morning sunlight filtered through the trees surrounding Everleaf, making every leaf sparkle with tiny droplets of water. Fresh flowers bloomed even brighter after yesterday's storm. Inside Haon's garden cafe, Seo Haon was enjoying his favorite part of the morning. Doing absolutely nothing, he sat on the porch with a warm cup of herbal tea. Luna lay curled on his lap. Quote. Q. Haon smiled. This is perfect. Ding. The cafe bell rang. Noah and Leon rushed outside. Pretty Omega, we're here. Haon laughed. I had exactly 12 minutes of peace. The twins grinned. That's a new record. Adrian arrived behind them carrying fresh vegetables from the village market. Good morning. Morning. Without thinking, Haon poured Adrian his usual tea. The alpha accepted it with a quiet. Quote. Thank you. Mayor Ben watched from another table. You two really don't need words anymore. Haon blinked. Quote. Huh. Adrian calmly sipped his tea. Quote. Quote. Just as everyone settled down, a strange breeze swept through the garden. The flowers bowed. The trees rustled although there was no wind. Luna suddenly stood, her fluffy tail puffed up. Quote. Q. The magical rabbits stopped hopping. Birds fell silent. Even the bees hovered motionless. The entire forest had become quiet. A soft emerald light appeared beyond the flower garden. Tiny glowing leaves floated through the air. One by one, they gathered beneath the ancient cherry blossom tree. Then, a figure slowly emerged. A woman with long emerald green hair woven with vines and flowers. Her silver eyes glowed gently. A crown of blossoms rested upon her head. Her dress seemed to be made from leaves, petals, and flowing light. Every flower in the garden bloomed at once. Mayor Ben immediately stood. Quote. The forest guardian. Every villager respectfully lowered their heads. Haon blinked. Quote. Good morning. The guardian smiled warmly. Quote. Good morning, child of kindness. Haon scratched his cheek. Quote. That's a very fancy greeting. The twins whispered excitedly. She's pretty. So shiny. The guardian looked around the café. Children laughed. Villagers smiled. Magical beasts rested peacefully nearby. She closed her eyes for a moment. Quote. The forest has become quieter since you arrived. Haon looked surprised. Quote. Really? She nodded. You never tried to conquer it. You simply treated every living thing with kindness. The forest remembers. Luna proudly puffed out her chest. Quote. Q. As if saying, I told you. The guardian slowly raised one hand. Several glowing leaves drifted into Haon's palm. Images appeared within the light. Beautiful magical gardens. Crystal clear streams. Ancient trees covered in glowing flowers. Then, the images changed. The flowers wilted. The streams dried. The gardens faded into silence. Haon's smile disappeared. Quote. What happened? The guardian looked toward the distant forest. There are 12 forgotten gardens hidden throughout Everleaf. They once gathered and purified the kingdom's natural mana. But, they have been abandoned for centuries. Their guardians disappeared. Their flowers no longer bloom. Mayor Ben looked shocked. I've heard those were only legends. They are real. The guardian smiled sadly. And they are dying. Haon quietly looked at the glowing leaves. Quote. You want someone to restore them. The guardian nodded. I came to ask. Quote. Not the strongest hunter. She looked at Adrian. Quote. Not the wealthiest noble. She looked back at Haon. Quote. But the kindest gardener. Silence filled the café. Haon looked around. Quote. Can't someone else do it? The guardian smiled knowingly. You would ask that. The twins immediately raised their hands. We'll help. We're coming too. Haon sighed. Quote. I knew you'd say that. Adrian folded his arms. Quote. If they go, I'll accompany them. The guardian nodded. I expected nothing less. Haon looked toward Luna. Quote. What do you think? The tiny fox hopped onto his shoulder. Quote. Q. She seemed excited. Apparently. That settled it. The guardian gently touched the flower garden. Instantly, a tiny glowing flower bloomed. This blossom will guide you. It will always point toward the nearest forgotten garden. She handed the glowing flower to Haon. It floated gently above his palm like a tiny star. Before anyone could speak, Noah suddenly pulled out a notebook. Adventure checklist. Leon quickly borrowed a pen. They immediately began writing. Snacks. Blankets. Storybooks. Cookies. Luna. Pretty Omega. Papa Adrian. Haon peeked over their shoulders. Quote. Why are cookies above me? The twins looked confused. Quote. Because cookies are important. The cafe erupted into laughter. Grandmother Elise immediately packed fresh sandwiches. Mayor Ben donated a detailed map of Everleaf. The hunters offered camping supplies. The magical rabbits carried baskets of vegetables into the cafe. Even the honey bear's golden pendant glowed softly, as though wishing them good luck. By afternoon, the entire village had somehow turned the guardian's request into a picnic. Haon watched everyone busily preparing supplies. Quote. I thought this would be a simple walk. Mayor Ben smiled. It still is. We're just making sure nobody goes hungry. The guardian quietly watched everyone. A gentle smile spread across her face. Quote. Perhaps. The forgotten gardens can bloom again after all. As sunset painted the sky with shades of orange and gold, Haon stood at the edge of the forest. Beside him stood Adrian, Noah, Leon, Luna, Behind them, the villagers waved enthusiastically. Come home safely. Bring back lots of flowers. And don't forget to rest. Haon smiled warmly. We will. The tiny glowing flower floated gently ahead. Its soft emerald light pointed deeper into the forest. Toward the first forgotten garden. Toward a new adventure. And somewhere, hidden beneath ancient trees untouched for hundreds of years, the first forgotten garden quietly awakened. As though it had been waiting for someone exactly like Seo Haon. Chapter 24. Family Portrait. The next morning, the skies above Everleaf were clear once again. The flowers around Haon's garden café sparkled beneath the warm morning sun. The little glowing flower given by the forest guardian rested in a glass vase on the café counter. Its emerald light gently pulsed. The journey to the Forgotten Gardens would begin soon. But today was peaceful. Exactly how Haon liked it. Seo Haon stretched lazily. Today's goal. He smiled. Drink tea. Water flowers. Take a nap. And hopefully, no unexpected visitors. Luna opened one eye. Q. She clearly doubted that would happen. Ding. The cafe bell rang. Noah and Leon burst inside. Pretty Omega. We're here. Haon sighed dramatically. There goes my peaceful morning. The twins hugged him anyway. Adrian entered behind them. He quietly placed a basket of fresh apples on the counter. Morning. Without a word, Haon poured Adrian his favorite herbal tea. The alpha accepted it naturally. The villagers watching nearby smiled knowingly. Neither of them noticed anymore. Just then, a horse-drawn carriage stopped outside. A cheerful young beta climbed down carrying a large wooden case. A canvas rested under one arm. Several rolled-up paintings were strapped to his back. He smiled brightly. Good morning. I'm Oliver Rowan, a traveling artist. Mayor Ben immediately welcomed him. Welcome to Everleaf. Oliver looked around in amazement. I've heard stories about this village, but it's even more beautiful in person. After enjoying a slice of cheesecake, Oliver looked around the lively cafe. Children laughed. Villagers chatted. Magical rabbits hopped beneath the tables. Luna lounged on the windowsill. The atmosphere felt warm, peaceful. He smiled. I'd love to paint this place. Haon blinked. Paint. I'm traveling across the kingdom. I paint villages and the people who live there. I'd like to leave Everleaf with a memory. The villagers loved the idea. Soon, Oliver set up his easel in the flower garden. One by one, he painted everyone. Mayor Ben proudly posed beside his vegetables. Grandmother Elise held a basket of homemade bread. The children insisted on posing with magical rabbits. Even Luna somehow demanded her own portrait. She sat proudly like a queen. Oliver laughed. She's very photogenic. Q. Luna agreed. By afternoon, the cafe had become an outdoor art studio. Travelers stopped to watch. Children gathered around the easel. Oliver's brush moved gracefully. Within minutes, beautiful paintings appeared. Each captured not just appearances, but warmth, emotion, life. Haon watched quietly. You're amazing. Oliver smiled. Thank you. But the happiest paintings. He looked around the cafe. Always come from happy places. Meanwhile, Noah and Leon quietly disappeared. Again, Haon narrowed his eyes. They're planning something. Luna nodded. Q. Behind the cafe, the twins whispered excitedly. Phase 1. We ask Mr. Oliver. Oliver blinked. Secret commission. The twins nodded seriously. Very secret. No telling Papa. Oliver smiled. I understand. They handed him a small drawing. It showed Haon, Adrian, Noah, Leon, Luna, standing together beneath the cafe sign. Noah smiled hopefully. Can you make it real? Oliver looked at the drawing. Then at the family laughing nearby. His expression softened. I'd be honored. Late that afternoon, Oliver invited everyone into the garden. I've finished today's final painting. Haon smiled. I didn't ask for one. You didn't. The commissioners did. Haon looked confused. Commissioners. The twins proudly raised their hands. We did. Oliver carefully turned the canvas around. Silence filled the garden. The painting was breathtaking. Haon stood beneath the cafe sign. Noah hugged one arm. Leon hugged the other. Luna rested happily on his shoulder. Adrian stood quietly beside him. One hand resting gently behind Haon. Not possessive, simply protective. Behind them, the cafe glowed warmly beneath the evening sun. Above the painting, in elegant letters, "Our family." No one spoke. For a long moment, Haon simply stared. Quote. It's beautiful. The twins looked nervous. Quote. Do you like it? Haon slowly smiled. His eyes became slightly watery. Quote. I love it. The twins cheered. We knew it. It belongs in the cafe. Haon nodded. Quote. Yes, it does. Oliver carefully carried the portrait inside. Together, the villagers helped hang it above the fireplace. Right beside, the twins' crayon, drawing labeled home. The two pictures looked perfect together. One drawn by little hands. The other painted by a master artist. Both carried the same meaning. Family. That evening, the cafe became unusually busy. Every customer stopped to admire the portrait. It's beautiful. You all look so happy. It feels warm. Haon smiled shyly. Quote. Thank you. Mayor Ben quietly stood beside him. You know, the first day you came here, you wanted everyone to leave you alone. Haon laughed softly. Quote. I remember. And now, Haon looked toward the portrait. Then around the cafe, the twins chased magical rabbits. Luna guarded the cookie jar. Grandmother Elise argued with Mayor Ben over whose pie tasted better. Adrian quietly repaired a loose chair. The travelers laughed together. He smiled. Quote. I think. Quote. The cafe was always missing something. Mayor Ben nodded. And what was that? Haon looked toward the portrait one last time. Quote. The people inside it. As the cafe closed for the evening, Oliver prepared to continue his journey. Before leaving, he handed Haon one final gift. A tiny framed sketch. It showed Haon smiling naturally. Without realizing anyone was watching. Oliver smiled. Artists notice moments others miss. You smile like that. Quote. Whenever you're with them. Haon quietly accepted the gift. Quote. Thank you. The traveling artist climbed into his carriage. As it disappeared beyond the hills, he looked back one last time. The warm lights of Haon's garden cafe glowed beneath the evening sky. Children laughed. The little white fox sat proudly in the window. The strongest alpha quietly carried empty teacups inside. And the once lonely villain Omega was smiling, without forcing it, without pretending, just genuinely happy. Oliver smiled to himself. Quote. Some paintings, quote. Don't capture a family. They simply reveal one. Back inside the cafe, the twins proudly admired the portrait. Noah grinned. Mission successful. Leon nodded proudly. Our family picture is complete. Haon gently shook his head with a smile. Quote. You two really are impossible. The twins laughed. But you love us. Haon looked at them, then at Adrian, then at Luna, finally, at the portrait above the fireplace. Quote. Yeah. Quote. I really do. The cafe fell quiet as the lanterns were lowered. Outside, the stars slowly appeared above Everleaf. Inside, one new painting hung on the wall. Not just as decoration, but as proof that the family they had built together was no longer just a dream. It had become real. Chapter 25. Papa's birthday. Somehow, morning arrived peacefully over Everleaf. Golden sunlight spilled across the flower gardens surrounding Haon's garden cafe. Birds sang cheerfully. The magical rabbits were already busy watering flowers. Luna stretched lazily on the windowsill. Quote. Q. Inside the cafe, Seo Haon was happily reading a fantasy novel while sipping herbal tea. Quote. Nothing unusual today. I like it. Across the village, the Blackwood twins were whispering behind a tree. Very dramatically. Noah opened a notebook. Operation Birthday. Leon nodded. Top secret. Mayor Ben quietly walked past. Quote dot dot dot. Should I ask? No. It's classified. Quote dot dot dot. Again, the twins had discovered something shocking the previous day. While helping Haon organize old documents, they found his birthday. It was today. The bigger surprise. Haon had completely forgotten. Noah looked horrified. Quote dot dot dot. Nobody celebrated. Leon quietly lowered his head. Quote dot dot dot. Not once. The twins immediately reached the same conclusion. This is unacceptable. An emergency meeting was held inside Mayor Ben's house. Present. Mayor Ben, Grandmother Elise, Adrian, Oliver the baker, the village children, several hunters, 3 magical rabbits, Luna. Noah stood at the front holding a pointer. Mission: make Papa smile. Leon flipped the next page. No mistakes. Everyone nodded seriously. Even Luna. Quote dot dot dot. Q. Mayor Ben smiled. So, what's the plan? The twins proudly revealed it. A surprise birthday party. The room erupted into applause. Preparations immediately began. Grandmother Elise baked fresh strawberry pies. Oliver prepared 3 enormous cheesecakes. The hunters decorated the café with magical lanterns. The children made colorful paper flowers. Mayor Ben secretly invited every villager. Adrian quietly disappeared into the capital. No one knew why. Meanwhile, Haon remained completely unaware. He happily worked in the garden. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. Everyone's strangely busy today. Luna quickly distracted him by tugging on his apron. Quote dot dot dot. Q. Oh, you want treats. Perfect. Distraction successful. Throughout the afternoon, the twins invented increasingly ridiculous excuses. Papa, can you help us find butterflies? A few minutes later. Papa, we lost our toy. 10 minutes later. Papa, we're hungry. Haon laughed. You two are unusually clingy today. The twins smiled innocently. Quote dot dot dot. Maybe. Inside the cafe, the villagers hurried to finish decorating. Golden lanterns floated beneath the ceiling. Fresh flowers filled every table. The family portrait above the fireplace was surrounded by glowing vines. A huge banner hung above the entrance. Happy birthday, Haon. Late that afternoon, Adrian finally returned. He quietly carried a long wooden box. Mayor Ben raised an eyebrow. You found it. Quote dot dot dot. Yes. Inside the box was an exquisitely crafted rocking bench made from enchanted white oak. Its armrests were carved with flowers, foxes, rabbits, and tiny stars. The backrest read, for peaceful naps. Mayor Ben smiled. Quote dot dot dot. That's perfect. As sunset approached, the twins began the final phase. Papa, we found something in the forest. Haon looked concerned. What happened? You have to come. Quote dot dot dot. Right now. He followed them without suspicion. They led him to the cafe. The lights were off. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. Did everyone leave? The twins slowly opened the door. Quote dot dot dot. Now. The lanterns lit simultaneously. Golden light filled the cafe. Everyone smiled. Surprise. Happy birthday. Haon froze. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. Birthday. Grandmother Elise laughed softly. Yours. He blinked. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. Today. Mayor Ben nodded. You forgot. Haon quietly looked at the calendar hanging beside the kitchen. Today's date really was his birthday. He had completely forgotten. For a long moment, no one spoke. Then, the twins ran forward. They hugged him tightly. Happy birthday, Papa. We love you. Haon smiled. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. Thank you. His voice trembled slightly. One by one, everyone gave him gifts. The children handed him handmade drawings. The hunters gave him rare flower seeds. Mayor Ben gifted him a beautiful gardening book. Grandmother Elise knitted him a warm scarf. Luna proudly placed a shiny purple crystal into his hands. Quote dot dot dot. Q. Haon gently hugged her. Thank you. Finally, Adrian stepped forward. He quietly opened the wooden box. Inside, the enchanted rocking bench shimmered softly beneath the lantern light. For the garden. So, you always have somewhere comfortable to read. Haon stared silently. His fingers gently traced the carved flowers. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. You made this. I designed it. The village carpenter helped. The twins grinned. Now Papa can nap better. Leon nodded. Very important. The entire cafe laughed. Then, Oliver rolled out the enormous birthday cake. 3 layers. Decorated with edible flowers, tiny sugar foxes, little rabbit figures, and a miniature cafe on top. The candles glowed with gentle magical light. Everyone gathered together. Make a wish. Haon quietly closed his eyes. For just a moment, the memories of his previous life returned. Small apartment, working late, eating alone, birthdays, spent like any other day. No one remembered, no one celebrated. He slowly opened his eyes. The cafe before him was completely different. Children smiled at him. Villagers waited patiently. Luna sat proudly beside the cake. Adrian quietly watched him. The warmest place in the world was waiting for him. Haon smiled. Quote. I already got my wish. He gently blew out the candles. The entire cafe erupted into applause. During dinner, laughter echoed through every corner of the cafe. The twins somehow managed to get frosting on everyone's faces. Mayor Ben accidentally wore a paper birthday crown. Even Adrian ended up helping wash dishes after Noah declared, "Birthday people don't clean." Haon laughed harder than anyone. Later that night, the party finally ended. The villagers slowly returned home. The twins had fallen asleep on the new rocking bench in the garden. Luna curled up between them. The enchanted lanterns glowed softly above. Haon quietly stepped outside. The stars filled the night sky. Adrian joined him. Neither spoke for a while. Finally, Haon smiled. This was my first real birthday. Adrian looked at him. Really? Haon nodded. I've never had people waiting for me. His voice became softer. Thank you. Adrian answered just as quietly. Happy birthday, Haon. For the first time, he called him by his name. Not you, not Haon, but with a warmth that made the simple words feel special. Haon looked at him in surprise. Then, he smiled brighter than ever before. Above Everleaf, the stars shimmered peacefully. Inside the cafe, the family portrait reflected the lantern light. Outside, a gentle breeze carried flower petals through the garden. The lonely villain who once believed he would always be forgotten had celebrated a birthday surrounded by people who truly loved him. And somewhere, watching from the edge of the forest guardian smiled. The gardens are not the only things blooming. Chapter 26. A dangerous visitor. The peaceful rhythm of Everleaf returned after Haon's birthday. Morning sunlight warmed the flower garden. The enchanted rocking bench sat beneath the cherry blossom tree. Noah and Leon were already asleep on it. Luna lay proudly between them. Seo Haon smiled as he watered the flowers. They're using my birthday gift more than I am. Inside the cafe, fresh bread cooled on the counter. The smell of cheesecake filled the air. Travelers chatted happily over tea. Everything felt normal, peaceful, exactly the way Haon liked it. Far away, inside the Hunter Association headquarters, a report landed on a polished wooden desk. The cover read, "Confidential Investigation. Subject, Seo Haon. Location, Everleaf Village." A tall alpha quietly flipped through the pages. His silver-gray eyes remained unreadable. Dark navy hair, a long hunter's coat decorated with silver insignias. Around his neck hung the emblem of an S-rank hunter. His name, Victor Reinhardt, one of the kingdom's strongest hunters. Known as the Silver Hawk. Unlike Adrian, Victor trusted facts, not rumors. He quietly read aloud. Magical beasts voluntarily gather around 1 Omega. The golden forest stag lowered its head. An ancient honey bear gifted him a guardian crystal. The forest guardian personally appeared. He closed the report. Impossible. The association president folded his hands. Then go confirm it yourself. 2 days later, a sleek black carriage entered Everleaf. The cheerful village atmosphere grew quiet. Mayor Ben recognized the Hunter Association crest. This won't be an ordinary visit. Victor stepped out of the carriage. His gaze calmly swept across the village. Flowers, children, magical rabbits. Nothing seemed unusual. Until he saw a tiny magical squirrel place an acorn into Haon's hand before happily running away. Victor paused. Quote. Interesting. Haon looked up from watering flowers. Oh, good morning. Victor approached politely. My name is Victor Reinhardt. I'm an S-rank hunter from the association. I'd like to ask you a few questions. Haon smiled. Of course. Would you like tea first? Victor blinked. Tea. It's difficult to talk on an empty stomach. 30 minutes later, Victor sat inside the café. Holding a warm teacup, a slice of cheesecake rested on his plate. He looked at it, then at Haon. This isn't how investigations usually begin. Haon laughed. I've never hosted one before. The villagers quietly watched. Noah whispered. Who's he? Leon answered. He has scary eyebrows. Victor heard them. Do I? Mayor Ben looked carefully. A little. The cafe burst into laughter. Even Victor sighed helplessly. After everyone settled down, Victor opened his notebook. My first question. Why do magical beasts gather around you? Haon thought for a moment. I feed them. Silence. Victor waited. That's all. I also pet them. Anything else? I apologize when I accidentally step on flowers. Victor slowly lowered his pen. You're serious? I am. Just then, the cafe bell rang. A frightened little magical deer stumbled inside. Its front leg was injured. Immediately, Haon stood. Oh no. He knelt beside it. It's all right. No one's going to hurt you. The little deer trembled. Haon gently cleaned the wound. Applied herbal medicine. Wrapped it carefully. Throughout the entire treatment, the magical deer never tried to run away. Instead, it quietly rested its head against Haon's shoulder. Victor watched silently. A few moments later, the deer's mother appeared outside. Instead of attacking, she bowed her head toward Haon. Then gently guided her child back into the forest. The cafe remained silent. Victor slowly closed his notebook. I understand one thing now. Haon tilted his head. What? They trust you. Outside, the golden forest stag appeared once again. It calmly approached the cafe. Lowered its head toward Haon. Then, surprisingly, it also nodded respectfully toward Victor. As if acknowledging his presence. Victor respectfully bowed in return. Later that afternoon, Victor quietly walked through Everleaf alone. He observed everything. Children played freely. Hunters helped farmers repair fences. Magical rabbits carried vegetables. No one seemed afraid. No one looked forced. Everything felt natural. As evening approached, Victor returned to the cafe. Adrian had just arrived. The two strongest hunters quietly exchanged greetings. Victor. Adrian. No hostility. Just mutual respect. Victor looked toward Haon. I have one final question. Haon smiled. Go ahead. If someone tried to use your abilities. What would you do? Haon answered without hesitation. I'd refuse. I don't want power. I don't want fame. I just want everyone who comes here. To leave happier than when they arrived. Silence filled the cafe. Victor stared at him. Then, very slowly, he smiled. The first genuine smile anyone had seen from him. Then the report was wrong. Haon blinked. Wrong. Victor closed the file. It described you as a mysterious anomaly. He looked around the cafe. Children laughing. Villagers sharing meals. Luna sleeping on the windowsill. Adrian quietly helping. Wash dishes. But you're simply. Someone kind. Before leaving, Victor handed Haon a small silver badge. What is this? A Hunter Association protection seal. Haon blinked. Protection. Victor nodded. If anyone attempts to use political influence. or force you into association affairs. Show them this. It means, You've earned my personal trust. Haon looked surprised. Thank you. Noah tugged on Victor's sleeve. Mr. Scary Eyebrows. Victor sighed. Still calling me that. The twins nodded. Your eyebrows aren't as scary now. Leon smiled. You smiled. Victor couldn't help laughing quietly. I suppose that's an improvement. As the carriage departed, Mayor Ben waved goodbye. Visit again. Victor nodded once. I think I will. Inside the carriage, Victor reopened the investigation file. Across every page, he wrote one word, false. Then, on the final page, he carefully added a new report. Seo Haon possesses no dangerous ambition. Recommendation: protect Everleaf's independence. The village has become something rare. A place where humans and magical creatures coexist peacefully. Do not interfere. He closed the folder. For the first time in years, the Silver Hawk looked out the window. Not as an investigator, but as someone who hoped the little café in Everleaf would always remain exactly as it was. Far away, hidden within a luxurious manor in the capital, a hooded figure quietly received another report. This one was not from Victor. It contained only one sentence. The association has chosen to protect Seo Haon. The figure slowly smiled. Then, I'll have to move personally. A chess piece was placed onto a game board. The first true move had finally begun. Chapter 27. The Café Under the Stars. Several days had passed since Victor Reinhardt's visit. Everleaf returned to its peaceful rhythm. The villagers continued their daily lives. The magical beasts wandered freely through the flower fields. And Haon was finally enjoying another quiet afternoon. He lay comfortably on the enchanted rocking bench Adrian had gifted him. A fantasy novel rested on his chest. Luna slept on his lap. This, is perfection. A gentle breeze carried the scent of flowers. Birds chirped softly. For nearly 20 whole minutes, nothing happened. Haon smiled sleepily. A new record. Ding. The cafe bell rang. Noah and Leon burst into the garden. Pretty Omega. We have wonderful news. Haon slowly closed his book. I knew it. My peace was temporary. The twins grinned. Mayor Ben followed them carrying several rolled up posters. The annual stargazing night is tomorrow. Haon blinked. Stargazing. The mayor nodded. Every summer, the whole village gathers beneath the stars. We watch magical constellations. Children tell stories. And everyone brings food. Grandmother Elise smiled. It's Everleaf's favorite tradition. Noah jumped excitedly. We'll have an outdoor movie too. Leon nodded. We're hanging a giant screen beside the cafe. Haon looked toward his peaceful flower garden. Beside my cafe. Mayor Ben smiled. It's the biggest open space in the village. I suppose saying no won't work. No. The next morning, the entire village transformed into one enormous festival. Long tables were placed throughout the garden. Lanterns hung from tree branches. Soft blankets covered the grass. Children carried baskets filled with snacks. The hunters built a large wooden screen. Travelers happily volunteered to help. Haon stood in the middle of the garden, completely surrounded by activity. How did this become my responsibility? Mayor Ben laughed. You own the biggest garden. Fair enough. Inside the cafe, Haon prepared enough food for nearly the entire village. Fresh sandwiches, fruit pies, honey bread, roasted vegetables, cheesecake, berry juice, herbal tea. Noah proudly held a clipboard. Food inspection. Leon followed behind him. Quality control. Haon handed each of them a cookie. There. Now you're officially busy. The twins saluted. Yes, chef. Meanwhile, Adrian quietly helped hang lanterns between the cherry blossom trees. The children watched him curiously. One little beta asked, Mr. Adrian, Yes. Do you know how to smile? Silence. The entire garden became quiet. Adrian thought for a moment. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. Sometimes. The children nodded seriously. That's good enough. Everyone laughed. As evening approached, the village slowly gathered beneath the glowing lanterns. The sky turned shades of pink and orange. The first stars began appearing overhead. The magical flower given by the forest guardian glowed softly beside the cafe entrance. Its emerald light blended beautifully with the lanterns. The outdoor movie began. It was an old animated fantasy about a tiny rabbit who wanted to become a knight. The children sat cross-legged on blankets. The adults quietly chatted behind them. The magical rabbits somehow watched the movie too. Luna sat proudly on the front row, as if she had reserved the best seat. Halfway through the movie, Noah quietly leaned against Haon. This is nice. Leon nodded. Quote dot dot dot. Really nice. Haon smiled gently. Quote dot dot dot. It is. After the movie ended, Mayor Ben stood. Everyone. It's time. The villagers looked toward the sky. One by one, the lanterns were extinguished. Darkness gently settled over Everleaf. Then, the stars appeared. Thousands of them, brighter than Haon had ever seen. The Milky Way stretched across the heavens like a glowing river. Children gasped. Travelers fell silent. Even the hunters quietly looked upward. Then, something magical happened. The constellations slowly began glowing. Tiny trails of silver light connected star to star. Shapes appeared across the night sky. A fox, a stag, a rabbit, a bear. The magical beasts watched quietly, almost as if greeting old friends. The twins pointed excitedly. Look, it's Luna. The fox constellation flicked its glowing tail. Luna looked up. Quote dot dot dot. Q. She puffed out her chest proudly. Apparently, she approved. Grandmother Elise began telling the children the old stories behind each constellation. The great stag watches over lost travelers. The fox guides lonely hearts home. The bear protects peaceful forests. The children listened with sparkling eyes. Haon quietly listened too. A little girl suddenly tugged on Haon's sleeve. Mr. Haon. Quote dot dot dot. Yes. Which star is your favorite? He looked toward the endless sky. For a long moment, he simply watched. Then, he pointed toward one tiny star near the edge of the Milky Way. Quote dot dot dot. That one. The little girl tilted her head. Quote dot dot dot. Why? Haon smiled softly. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. Because. Quote dot dot dot. It doesn't shine the brightest. Quote dot dot dot. But it still makes the night more beautiful. Adrian quietly looked toward the same star. He smiled. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. It suits you. Haon blinked. Quote dot dot dot. Really? You don't try to stand out. But. Quote dot dot dot. You quietly make everyone's world brighter. Silence. Haon looked away, embarrassed. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. You say unexpectedly nice things sometimes. Adrian calmly answered. Quote dot dot dot. Only when they're true. Mayor Ben quietly whispered to Grandmother Elise. Quote dot dot dot. He's getting bolder. She smiled knowingly. Very slowly. Later that evening, the villagers spread blankets across the grass. Some children had already fallen asleep beneath the stars. Noah rested against Haon's shoulder. Leon leaned comfortably against Adrian. Luna curled into Haon's lap. The warm summer breeze gently rustled the flowers. Haon looked around. The lanterns. The cafe. The villagers. The magical creatures. The children. Adrian sitting quietly beside him. He smiled. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. I used to think. Quote dot dot dot. My favorite place was this cafe. He paused. Then looked toward everyone gathered together. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. I was wrong. Adrian glanced at him. Quote dot dot dot. What do you mean? Haon smiled. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. My favorite place. Quote dot dot dot. Is wherever all of you are. Silence. Then, the twins hugged him at the same time. We love you, Papa. Haon laughed. Quote dot dot dot. I love you too. The words came naturally now. Without hesitation. Without fear. Far away. Hidden atop a distant hill. A lone cloaked figure quietly watched Everleaf. The warm lights. The laughter. The peaceful village. The happy family beneath the stars. The figure slowly tightened their grip on a black cane. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. Enjoy your happiness while you can. The glowing constellations reflected in their cold eyes. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. Soon. Quote dot dot dot. The story will return to its proper course. A dark wind quietly swept across the hill. But it never reached Everleaf. Not tonight. Tonight, the stars belong to the little café. To the family gathered beneath them. And to the peaceful memories they would treasure forever. Chapter 28. Home is wherever they are. Morning arrived quietly after the unforgettable stargazing night. The lanterns had been taken down. The blankets were folded away. Only a few glowing flower petals remained scattered across the garden. Haon's garden cafe looked peaceful once again. Seo Haon stepped outside carrying a watering can. He smiled contentedly. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. Everything's finally back to normal. Luna stretched on the enchanted rocking bench. Quote dot dot dot. Q. She didn't sound convinced. Sure enough. Ding. The cafe bell rang. Noah and Leon burst inside. Pretty Omega. We're hungry. Haon sighed dramatically. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. There goes my peaceful morning. The twins laughed and hugged him. Adrian entered a moment later. He quietly placed a basket of freshly picked apples on the counter. Morning. Morning. Without even asking, Haon poured Adrian a cup of herbal tea. Neither of them noticed how natural it had become. Mayor Ben did. He smiled into his own teacup. Breakfast passed peacefully. Fresh bread, honey, cheesecake, fruit. The twins happily chatted while Luna stole tiny pieces of grilled fish whenever Haon wasn't looking. Quote dot dot dot. Luna. The little fox froze. Quote dot dot dot. Q. That's mine. She slowly pushed the fish back toward him. The cafe erupted into laughter. After breakfast, a little beta boy entered the cafe carrying a wooden toy. His eyes were red from crying. Haon immediately knelt beside him. What happened? The little boy sniffled. Quote dot dot dot. I broke it. He held up a small wooden house. One side had cracked apart. It was Grandpa's gift. Haon gently accepted it. I think we can fix it. The boy looked hopeful. Quote dot dot dot. Really? I'll try. Adrian quietly brought over a small woodworking kit from the storage room. I'll help. Haon smiled. Thank you. Together, the two of them carefully repaired the tiny wooden house. Adrian sanded the broken edge. Haon carefully painted over the repaired crack. Within half an hour, the toy looked almost new. The little boy's eyes sparkled. Quote dot dot dot. It's perfect. Haon smiled. Not perfect, but made with care. The boy hugged the little house tightly. Quote dot dot dot. Thank you. Watching nearby, Grandmother Elise smiled softly. Some things become stronger after they're repaired. Haon quietly looked at the little wooden house. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. Maybe people do too. Around noon, the glowing flower from the forest guardian suddenly shone brighter. Its emerald light floated into the air. Everyone turned toward it. The little blossom slowly drifted toward the forest. Then stopped. Waiting. Mayor Ben looked surprised. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. The first forgotten garden is calling. Haon looked at the glowing flower. Quote dot dot dot. Already. The flower gently circled him once. As if nodding, the twins immediately rushed upstairs. Adventure bags. We packed them already. Haon blinked. Quote dot dot dot. Already. Leon proudly nodded. We've been ready for 3 days. Adrian quietly picked up his coat. I'll notify the guild that I'll be away. Mayor Ben smiled. The village will take care of the cafe. Haon looked around in surprise. You'll do that? Grandmother Elise laughed. You've taken care of all of us. Now let us take care of your home. Silence settled over the cafe. Haon slowly looked around. The freshly cleaned tables. The flower garden. The family portrait above the fireplace. The little crayon drawing labeled home. Every corner held a memory now. Noah gently tugged on his sleeve. Worried. Haon nodded honestly. Quote dot dot dot. A little. What if something happens while we're gone? Mayor Ben folded his arms. Then we'll protect it. Grandmother Elise smiled. Just like you've protected us. The hunters nodded. So will we. Even the magical rabbits thumped their tiny feet in agreement. Luna proudly puffed out her chest. Quote dot dot dot. Q. Haon smiled. Quote dot dot dot. Thank you. That afternoon, The villagers gathered outside the café. Not to say goodbye forever. Only to send them safely on their journey. Fresh food filled their backpacks. Blankets were neatly folded. Oliver the baker handed Noah an entire bag of cookies. Emergency supplies. The twins saluted seriously. We'll guard them with our lives. Before leaving, Haon turned back toward the café. For a moment, the memories of his first day in Everleaf returned. A lonely Omega. A quiet café. A simple dream. Eat, sleep, garden. Avoid the protagonists. He couldn't help laughing. Quote. That plan didn't last very long. Adrian looked at him. Quote. Do you regret it? Haon slowly looked toward the villagers waving at them. Toward Noah and Leon happily arguing over cookies. Toward Luna chasing butterflies. Then, back at the warm little cafe. He smiled. Quote. Not even a little. The twins suddenly grabbed one of Haon's hands each. Let's go. Our adventure's waiting. Haon laughed. All right. Adrian quietly walked beside them. The glowing flower floated gently ahead. Its emerald light guided the four of them toward the forest. Toward the first forgotten garden. As they crossed the old wooden bridge outside Everleaf, Noah suddenly asked, Pretty Omega. Quote. Yes. If the adventure takes a long time. Quote. Will we still come home? Haon smiled gently. Of course. Leon tilted his head. Quote. How do you know? Haon looked at the people walking beside him. The twins, Luna, Adrian, then back toward the village disappearing behind the trees. He smiled warmly. Quote. Because. Quote. Home isn't just a place anymore. He squeezed the twins' hands gently. Quote. Home is wherever all of you are. The twins grinned. We knew you'd say that. Adrian looked at Haon quietly. A faint smile appeared on his face. The four of them continued walking beneath the sunlit forest canopy. Behind them, Everleaf waited. Ahead of them, the Forgotten Gardens awaited their first caretaker in centuries. And somewhere deep within the ancient woods, the first sleeping garden began to bloom. Chapter 29. The first Forgotten Garden awakens. The morning sun filtered through the towering trees of the ancient forest. Tiny rays of golden light danced across moss-covered stones. The glowing flower given by the forest guardian floated gently ahead of Haon and the others. Its emerald light had grown brighter with every step. Noah pointed excitedly. It's glowing more. Leon nodded. I think we're close. Haon smiled softly. Quote. Looks like our little guide is excited. Luna perched comfortably on his shoulder. Quote. Q. After another hour of walking, the forest suddenly became silent. No birds. No insects. Even the wind seemed to stop. An enormous stone gate stood before them. It was completely covered in vines and flowering ivy. An ancient crest shaped like a blooming lotus was carved into its center. Beyond the gate, only glowing mist could be seen. Haon quietly stared. Quote. It's beautiful. The glowing flower floated toward the gate. The lotus emblem slowly lit up. Rumble. The ancient doors opened by themselves. A gentle breeze carrying the scent of countless flowers greeted them. Noah gasped. Wow. Leon whispered. It's like another world. Beyond the gate, an enormous hidden garden stretched farther than the eye could see. Ancient cherry blossom trees, crystal ponds, stone bridges, flower fields glowing with magical energy. Yet despite its beauty, everything felt asleep. The flowers had closed. The fountains were dry. The spirits of the garden floated weakly above the ground. It was waiting for someone. Soft footsteps echoed behind them. The forest guardian appeared beneath a shower of glowing petals. Her emerald hair shimmered beneath the sunlight. She smiled gently. You have arrived. Quote. The first forgotten garden. Haon bowed politely. Quote. Thank you for guiding us. The guardian looked around the silent garden. For hundreds of years, this place purified the mana flowing through Everleaf. It protected the surrounding forests. It gave magical creatures a safe home. Her smile became sad, but after its caretaker disappeared, so did its heart. Haon slowly walked toward the center of the garden. An old fountain stood there, completely dry. Cracks spread across its ancient stone. He gently brushed away the dust. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. You've been lonely. A tiny flower beside the fountain trembled. Very slowly. One green leaf unfolded. The guardian smiled. It remembers kindness. Suddenly, dark mist crept between the flower beds. The warm sunlight dimmed. Twisted black vines erupted from the ground. They wrapped themselves around the fountain. The garden spirits immediately hid. Luna jumped onto Haon's shoulder. Quote dot dot dot. Kyuu. Her fluffy tail doubled in size. Adrian instantly stepped forward. He drew his sword. The twins moved behind him. The atmosphere became tense. A cold voice echoed throughout the garden. Quote dot dot dot. Leave. Quote dot dot dot. This place belongs to despair now. Black mist gathered above the fountain. It formed the shape of a faceless figure wrapped in thorn-covered vines. The air grew colder. Noah swallowed nervously. Quote dot dot dot. That's scary. Leon quietly held Haon's sleeve. Quote dot dot dot. Very scary. The shadow laughed. Quote dot dot dot. A weak omega. Quote dot dot dot. A handful of children. Quote dot dot dot. Do you think you can save this place? Adrian calmly raised his sword. If necessary. The shadow sneered. Quote dot dot dot. You cannot cut despair. Haon quietly stepped forward. Adrian frowned. Haon. It's dangerous. Haon smiled gently. Quote dot dot dot. I know. But. Quote dot dot dot. I don't think this garden needs another battle. Everyone looked at him. Haon slowly removed his backpack. Inside, instead of weapons, he took out gardening gloves. A small watering can. Flower seeds. Pruning scissors. The twins immediately understood. Noah grinned. Gardening time. Leon smiled. We practiced. The shadow stared. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. What are you doing? Haon calmly knelt beside the nearest wilted flower. I'm taking care of the garden. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. That's all. He gently loosened the hardened soil. Pulled away the dead weeds. Watered the roots. The twins happily followed beside him. We'll help. I'll water this side. Luna carefully carried tiny glowing seeds in her mouth. She dropped them beside every empty flower bed. Quote dot dot dot. Q. Adrian quietly sheathed his sword. Instead, he began clearing away the broken stones blocking the irrigation channels. The forest guardian smiled warmly. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. Exactly. The shadow roared. Stop ignoring me. Dark vines shot toward Haon. Before they could reach him, the garden itself reacted. Golden roots burst from the earth. Ancient trees bent their branches. The vines were stopped. The garden was protecting its gardener. The first flower bloomed, then another, then another. Soon, color spread across the sleeping garden. The dried fountain trembled. Tiny streams of water began flowing once more. The spirits emerged from hiding, laughing happily. The shadow stumbled backward. Quote dot dot dot. Impossible. Quote dot dot dot. Why won't you fight me? Haon smiled without looking up. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. Because flowers don't bloom through fighting. They bloom. Quote dot dot dot. Because someone cared enough to stay. The entire garden erupted with emerald light. Thousands of blossoms opened simultaneously. Butterflies filled the sky. Mana flowed through every tree. The fountain exploded into crystal clear water. The stone lotus above the gate shone brilliantly. The dark shadow screamed. Its thorn-covered body cracked apart beneath the overwhelming light. Not destroyed by power, but washed away by the life returning to the garden. Within seconds, only silence remained. The forest guardian slowly approached Haon. Tears shimmered in her eyes. Quote dot 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 quote. Quote dot dot dot. You have awakened the first forgotten garden. She gently touched his forehead. A tiny emerald flower-shaped crest appeared on the back of his right hand. It glowed softly before fading beneath his skin. This garden now recognizes you. Quote dot dot dot. As its caretaker. Noah and Leon cheered loudly. We did it. The flowers are awake. Luna proudly puffed out her chest. Quote dot dot dot. Kyuu. Even Adrian allowed himself a faint smile. Quote dot dot dot. Well done. The guardian looked toward the restored garden. Then quietly spoke. This is only the first. There are 11 more forgotten gardens. They too. Quote dot dot dot. Are waiting for you. Haon looked at the endless sea of blooming flowers. Then toward his family. The twins laughing together. Luna chasing butterflies. Adrian quietly repairing a broken stone bench without anyone asking. He smiled warmly. Quote. Then. Let's save them one by one. The twins immediately raised their hands. We're coming too. We're the assistant gardeners. Haon laughed. Quote. I wouldn't have it any other way. Above them, the restored garden shimmered beneath the afternoon sun. For the first time in centuries, the first forgotten garden had awakened. And deep within the shadows, someone opened their eyes. Quote. So. The first seal has finally been broken. Chapter 30. A peace worth fighting for. The first morning inside the restored forgotten garden was unlike any morning Haon had ever experienced. The entire garden shimmered beneath the golden sunrise. Thousands of flowers bloomed together. The once dry fountain flowed with crystal clear water. Tiny spirits of light happily danced above the petals. Every breeze carried the fragrance of new life. Seo Haon stood quietly beside the fountain. He smiled. Quote. It's beautiful. Noah ran across the flower field. Pretty Omega. Look, the flowers are following us. Sure enough, as the twins laughed and ran, the blossoms gently turned toward them. Leon giggled. They're saying good morning. Luna happily chased glowing butterflies. Quote. Q. Even Adrian allowed himself a small smile. Quote. The garden is alive again. The forest guardian appeared beside the fountain. She looked much brighter than before. The emerald glow surrounding her had become stronger. You have done more than restore flowers. She looked at Haon. You restored hope. Haon scratched his cheek. Quote. I only watered them. The guardian laughed softly. Exactly. She gently waved her hand. The water in the fountain shimmered. Images slowly appeared. The people of Everleaf. Children laughing. Travelers resting at the café. Magical beasts sleeping peacefully in the gardens. Then, the images spread farther. Rivers became clearer. The surrounding forests glowed with healthy mana. The guardian smiled. When one forgotten garden awakens, the entire land begins to heal. Everyone watched in amazement. Suddenly, the emerald crest on the back of Haon's hand glowed warmly. The flowers around him bloomed once more. The spirits gathered around him in circles. The guardian nodded. They have accepted you completely. You are now. Quote. The first garden's keeper. Noah raised his hand excitedly. Does that mean Pretty Omega is stronger now? The guardian smiled. In a way, but not through power. She looked at Haon. His greatest strength. Quote. Has always been kindness. Just then, a tiny blue flower spirit floated nervously toward Haon. It held a single glowing seed. Quote. P. Haon knelt. For me. The little spirit nodded. He accepted the seed carefully. The guardian explained. Every restored garden gives its keeper one heart seed. It will bloom when another garden is saved. Haon smiled warmly. I'll treasure it. Meanwhile, far beyond the ancient forest, dark clouds gathered above an abandoned castle. Inside, the hooded figure stood before an ancient black mirror. The mirror slowly showed the image of Haon, surrounded by flowers, children, family, light. The figure clenched a fist. Quote. Again. Quote. The villain refuses to follow the story. Black vines spread across the floor. The more he changes. Quote. The more the world changes with him. A low laugh echoed through the empty hall. Quote. Interesting. Quote. Then I'll simply rewrite the ending myself. Back in the forgotten garden, the guardian walked toward an ancient stone monument. 12 glowing flowers were carved upon it. Only one shone brightly. 11 remained dark. She gently touched the glowing symbol. The first garden has awakened. She looked toward Haon. There are 11 more. Each is more difficult than the last. Each protects a different part of this world. Haon nodded. We'll save them. The twins immediately raised both hands. We'll help. We're assistant gardeners. Luna proudly puffed out her chest. Quote. Q. Adrian quietly folded his arms. Quote. I'll protect all of you. The guardian smiled. I never doubted it. As the afternoon sun warmed the garden, everyone gathered beside the fountain for lunch. Fresh sandwiches, fruit, cookies, tea, Even the flower spirits curiously peeked at the picnic. One tiny spirit carefully stole half of Noah's cookie. Noah gasped dramatically. "My cookie." Leon laughed. It made a new friend. The tiny spirit shyly returned a glowing flower petal as payment. Noah smiled. Deal. Everyone laughed. Later, before leaving, Haon walked through the restored garden one last time. The flowers gently swayed as he passed. The ancient trees lowered their branches slightly. The spirits floated around him happily. It felt as though the garden itself was saying goodbye. Haon bowed respectfully. We'll come back. I promise. The flowers bloomed even brighter. The forest guardian walked them to the stone gate. Thank you for reminding this world. That kindness is never weakness. Haon smiled softly. I just wanted a peaceful life. The guardian nodded. And because of that, you became someone worth trusting. The ancient gate slowly opened. The group stepped back into the forest. The moment they crossed the threshold, the glowing flower floated into the air. Then, it transformed into a tiny emerald butterfly. It circled Haon once before disappearing into the sunlight. The first forgotten garden no longer needed a guide. It had found its keeper. By sunset, the rooftops of Everleaf finally appeared through the trees. Noah cheered. We're home. Leon smiled brightly. The café. Luna happily ran ahead. Q. As they crossed the wooden bridge, the villagers were already waiting. Mayor Ben waved enthusiastically. You did it. Grandmother Elise wiped away happy tears. The flowers in the village started blooming this morning. Travelers applauded. Even the magical beasts gathered to welcome them home. Haon looked around. Everyone was smiling, waiting for them. That evening, the café was filled with laughter once more. The family portrait still hung above the fireplace. The rocking bench rested beneath the cherry blossom tree. The smell of fresh bread filled the air. Everything felt exactly as it should. Haon quietly looked around. This peaceful café, this noisy family, this warm little village, they were worth protecting. He smiled. I finally understand. Adrian looked at him. Understand what? Haon looked at everyone gathered together. Then answered with complete certainty. Peace isn't something you find. It's something you build. And something you protect. Adrian smiled. Then. Let's protect it together. Haon laughed softly. Yeah. Let's. Outside, the stars slowly appeared above Everleaf. Far away, 11 ancient gardens still slept beneath the world. One by one, they would awaken, not because of power, not because of destiny, but because one lazy Omega, who only wanted a quiet life, had unknowingly become the heart of everyone around him. And that was a peace worth fighting for. End of Volume 2. Thank you for listening to II Fiction Stories. Please like, comment, share and subscribe. See you next time.